Start with the histology of the male reproductive system. So before going to histology, we will discuss with the parts of the male reproductive system. Then I will be completing this into two parts. So in the first part, we will be discussing the histology of the seminiferous tubules, the genital ducts. Then in the second part, we will continue with the histology of the prostate and seminal vesicles. So to start with, the male reproductive system, it consists of a pair of testes, which are present within the scrotum. So for spermatogenesis, it requires a lower temperature, 2 to 3 degrees centigrade, lower than that of the body temperature. So if the testis, it is in the scrotum, so the temperature decreases by 2 to 3 degrees due to the presence of cuneiform plexus of veins and heat exchange. There is a rapid heat exchange also possible in this. Then the males, they have a pair of gonads, that is in the form of testes. The length of the testis is 5 cm, breadth is 3 cm, antero-posterior diameter is 2.5 cm. And the weight of testis is 10.5 grams to 14 grams. And coming to the genital duct system, so in the testis, this testis is covered by tunica from inside out. It is tunica vasculosa, the reddish pinkish. This is the cross section of testis. The pinkish portion which is intimately adherent to the testis, that is tunica vasculosa. Then comes the tunica albuginea. Then outermost is tunica vaginalis. Okay. So testis, we all know that it descends from loin to groin. So while descending from loin to groin, it takes the tunica vaginalis along with it. So this is tunica vaginalis. Then the fibrous layer is the tunica albuginea. Next to tunica vaginalis is tunica albuginea. And innermost is the tunica vasculosa, which is intimately adherent. So the tunica albuginea, which is fibrous, this tunica albuginea, it is fibrous, and behind, what happens, it is thickened in the mediastinum of testis, where it gives septa to divide the testis, whole of the testis, into lobes and lobules. So from septa will arise from the tunica albuginea. They will divide the testis into lobes and lobules. So within each lobule, we find seminiferous tubules. Within there are approximately 200 to 400 lobules within each testis, and each lobule contains seminiferous tubules. These are coiled structures. These are the seminiferous tubules. And these seminiferous, there are approximately 2 to 4 seminiferous tubules within each lobule. Again I am telling, each testis is divided by the septa arising from the tunica albuginea into 200 to 400 lobules, and each lobule will contain 2 to 4 seminiferous tubules, and the length of each seminiferous tubule is 2 feet. Then these seminiferous tubules, they are in each lobule, they are approximately 2 to 4. So in each testis, it is approximately 600 to 800 seminiferous tubules in each testis. Then the testis in detail will go in gross. So it has a 2 poles, upper pole and a lower pole, 2 surfaces, the medial surface and a lateral surface. Then 2 borders, anterior border and posterior border. In the posterior border, we find the epididymis. The epididymis we find in the posterior border. So what is epididymis? So we see the genital system of the male reproductive system. I told you that each lobule is having 3 to 4 seminiferous tubules. These seminiferous tubules are more coiled inside, and when they come towards the mediastinum of testis, they are straight. So these straight tubules, they will form an anastomosing like structure in the mediastinum of testis, and this mediastinum of testis it contains the retitestis. So these anastomosing structures, these are called retitestis, and then from these retitestis 12 to 20 efferent ductules they will arise, and they will form coiled structure that is called epididymis, which is present in the posterior border of testis. Okay, so this seminiferous tubules towards the mediastinum of testis, it forms straight tubules. These straight tubules will form retitestis, that is anastomosing network. Then from retitestis 12 to 20 efferent ductules, they will arise and they will go towards the epididymis. This is the head of the epididymis. This part is the head of the epididymis. This is the body of epididymis, and this is the tail of epididymis. Then from tail of epididymis, from tail of epididymis will come here. From tail of epididymis, the vas deferens will continue. From the tail of epididymis, so this is an enlarged structure which I have drawn here. This is an enlarged structure of the testis. Then from the tail of epididymis, the vas deferens continues. And the length of epididymis, this is always in a coiled structure forming the head, body and tail. So if you uncoil this, it will be 20 feet in length. So the length of the seminiferous tubule, each seminiferous tubule is 2 feet, and the length of epididymis is 20 feet. Then from the tail of epididymis, this vas deferens will continue. So it enters the spermatic cord, then it continues, it goes behind the ureter, then it comes here, and it joins with the duct of the seminal vesicle. So this is the seminal vesicle. Then after the vas connects with the duct of the seminal vesicle, this is called the ejaculatory duct. So when the vas deferens, it connects with the duct of the seminal vesicle, it is called the ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct, it opens into the prostatic urethra. The ejaculatory duct opens into the prostatic urethra. So this is the prostate, which is an accessory sexual organ of male. So prostate, seminal vesicle is there. So prostate lies below the urinary bladder. This is the urinary bladder. So the vas joins with the duct of seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct opens into the prostatic urethra. So in males, the urethra is divided into 3 parts. The prostatic urethra within the prostate, then comes the membranous urethra within the deep perineal pouch, then comes the penile urethra. So total length of the male urethra is 20 cm. Then prostatic urethra is around 2.5 to 3 cm. This membranous urethra is 1.5. Then the rest is the penile urethra, which is 15 cm. So this is all about the genital system of the male reproductive system. So now we will go in detail with the seminiferous tubules. If we take a cross section of a seminiferous tubule, then what we will get? These seminiferous tubules, they are lined by 2 types of cells. The seminiferous tubule, it is lined by 2 types of cells. That is, one type of cell is the prominent, which you can see is the Sertoli cell. So this is the cross section of seminiferous tubule. Which is the main constituents of the lobules of the testis. So within the seminiferous tubule, we find 2 types of cells. That is, one is the Sertoli cell. These are called sustentacular cells because they provide support, nutritional support as well as physical support to the spermatogonial cells. These are the spermatogonial cells, the primary spermatocytes, the secondary spermatocytes, the spermatids, all these spermatogenic cells, they are in different phases of maturation, which we find within the seminiferous tubules. So the seminiferous tubules contains the Sertoli cells, which are otherwise called the sustentacular cells. They provide physical support, physical and nutritional support to the developing spermatogenic cells, which are in different stages of maturation. And these, here we go in detail with this structure. So you see this diagram. So this bluish one, this is the Sertoli cell. So I am showing the enlarged view of this. So this is one Sertoli cell, which is having branch-like thing. So the lateral appendages of two Sertoli cells, they will form a tight junction. So this is one Sertoli cell and this is another Sertoli cell. So the lateral appendages of two Sertoli cells, they will form a tight junction, and they will convert the lumen of the seminiferous tubule into a basal compartment and an adluminal compartment. So in the basal compartment we find spermatogonial cells. So they will form the blood testis barrier. So this is the blood vessel, fenestrated capillaries. This is the basement membrane. This is the capillary, fenestrated capillary, and these are the Leydig cells, interstitial cells of Leydig, which lie outside the seminiferous tubules. So they will form the main component of the lobules. So each lobule is formed by 3 to 4 seminiferous tubules, loose areolar tissue, the interstitial cells of Leydig cells, mast cells, macrophages, all these cells will be found within the lobules. So these are interstitial, they lie outside the seminiferous tubules. These are interstitial cells of Leydig. So I was telling about the blood testis barrier. The lateral appendages of two Sertoli cells will form a tight junction, and they will divide the lumen of the seminiferous tubule into two compartments. This is the basal compartment containing only the spermatogonial cells, this barrier will protect the spermatogonial cells from immunological reactions. And towards the adluminal compartment, we have the primary spermatocyte, the secondary spermatocyte, and the spermatids. So towards the adluminal compartment, we have all the stages, and in the luminal compartment, we have only the spermatogonial cells. And the spermatogonial cells, they are again of two types. That is the spermatogonial type A and type B. Then type A, it is again of two types. Type A is type A pale type, type A dark type. Dark type A and pale type A. So dark type A, dark type A. So dark type A and A type A. So dark type A is mitotically active. It is mitotically active and it acts as a reservoir. And pale type A, it is mitotically inactive. So dark type A will go on dividing and it leads to formation of pale type B. Pale type B spermatogonial cells. This type B spermatogonial cells will undergo rapid mitosis to form spermatids. So from each one spermatogonial cell, we get 4 spermatids. So here we see in the basal compartment the spermatogonial cells, and in the adluminal compartment towards the base we find the primary spermatocyte, which is the largest of all the germ cells, spermatogonial cells which we find here. So this primary spermatocyte is the largest. It is larger than the spermatogonial cell. Then this primary spermatocyte, it is 2N nucleus. It undergoes to form a reduction division, that is first meiosis, to form the secondary spermatocyte. Usually we don't find secondary spermatocyte in large numbers because it rapidly undergoes second meiotic division to form the spermatids. So then these spermatids, they will undergo cytodifferentiation. Certain structural changes occur in the spermatids by which they will convert into sperms, spermatocyte. So the process of formation of spermatogonial cells to spermatids is called spermatogenesis, and it takes 64 days to complete. And the cytodifferentiation, the structural changes which the spermatids undergo to form sperms, that is called spermiogenesis. And these sperms, they will again be stored within the epididymis, and they will attain maturation there. They will accumulate there and they will attain the maturity in the epididymis. So epididymis is the storehouse of sperms, and it allows them to mature there, and they gain their motility within the epididymis. So now we will discuss about the function of the Sertoli cells. The Sertoli cells, these are the first site where we can find the SRY gene. These are the first site where you can find the SRY gene, where you can detect the SRY gene. We have already told you that it is the structure, it forms the structural and nutritional support to the spermatogonial cells. It releases certain hormones, that is anti-Mullerian hormone, so that the female reproductive system it suppresses. It releases activin and inhibin. The Sertoli cells, they release activin, which helps in the formation of, which activates the pituitary to release FSH, and inhibin, it just does the opposite thing. Then it releases plasminogen activators. The Sertoli cells, they will release plasminogen activators, and finally they will take up the residual bodies. That is I told you during the phase of spermiogenesis, that is the conversion of spermatids to sperms. It includes certain structural changes, and there are 4 phases. These 4 phases are the acrosomal phase, the Golgi phase, the cap phase, the acrosomal phase, and the final maturation phase. These are the 4 phases: the Golgi phase, the cap phase, the acrosomal phase, and final maturation phase. These 4 phases are present in the process of spermiogenesis. That is the final stage of maturation. And these sperms, they are held within the Sertoli cells by intercellular bridges. And these residual bodies, which are thrown out by these motile sperms when they finally mature, these residual bodies are again taken up by the Sertoli cells. So Sertoli cells, they have an important function in the testis. So first is, it is the first site for detection of SRY gene. It releases anti-Mullerian hormone. It releases activin and inhibin. It releases plasminogen activator, and it takes up the residual bodies. These residual bodies are also taken up by the principal cells present in the epididymis and efferent ductus. The principal cells, they are present in the epididymis. We will come to that. Then next we will go to what are the functions of Leydig cells. interstitial cells of ladies. The Leydig cells, they secrete testosterone. The Leydig cells, they secrete testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone which helps in spermatogenesis. So now the Sertoli cells also release androgen binding substance. Sertoli cell, you can add here, it also releases the androgen binding substance. So it releases, finally the Sertoli cell release anti-Mullerian hormone. One is anti-Mullerian hormone, the activin, inhibin, plasminogen activator, androgen binding substance, okay, and anti-Mullerian hormone. So all these are released by, a large number of factors are released by Sertoli cell. And this androgen binding substance which is released by Sertoli cell, it will help the spermatogenetic cells to take up the testosterone, which is released by the Leydig cells. Then we come to the lining epithelium of the ductules, efferent ductules. The efferent ductules, they are lined by the straight tubules. I told you the straight tubules, the retitestis, then comes the 12 to 20 efferent ductules. So the cells lining the retitestis and efferent ductules, they are low cuboidal to columnar. And the cells lining the epididymis, coils of epididymis, they are of two types. That is the principal cell and basal cells. They are the lining epithelium of epididymis. Just to remember, lining epithelium of epididymis, the vas and the ejaculatory duct, all are lined by pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. And in between they have tall principal cells and short basal cells. Tall principal cells, short basal cells. So due to this presence of two types of cells within this, it gives a stratified look. So we tell it these epididymis, the vas and the ejaculatory duct, they all are lined by pseudostratified ciliated. The cilia here is stereocilia. These stereocilia, what it does, it absorbs the testicular fluid and helps with the movement of testicular fluid and movement of sperms. And the basal cells, they are non-ciliated, they don't have angle. And so it is the mainly the pseudostratified ciliated, that is the stereocilia is present, and they have two types of cells, the principal cells and basal cells. So this is same for the epididymis, the vas and the ejaculatory duct. And the vas difference, the length of the vas difference, the length of epididymis I told you it is 20 feet. Length of vas difference is 45 centimeter or 18 inch. And length of penile urethra I told you it is 20 centimeter. And this opening toward the penile urethra, the prostatic urethra, it is lined by transitional epithelium. Then comes here the simple columnar epithelium. Then towards the opening, it is stratified sperms. Okay. And we sometimes find halo cells also. These are intraepithelial lymphocytes which are found within these principal cells and basal cells of the epididymis, in which you find within the epididymis. These are the halo cells. So this is all about the histology of seminiferous tubules, that is then epididymis. So in the epididymis, when you see under the microscope, you find the lumen of the epididymis. It is lined by pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, and the lumen is filled due to the presence of motile sperms. But when you see the cross section of seminiferous tubules, you find the lumen is clear, because when they are in the seminiferous tubules, they have not attained motility. So the lumen of the, if you take a cross section of the testis, the lumen of the seminiferous tubule, it is clear. So show you the diagram. The lumen of the seminiferous tubule is clear, but the lumen of epididymis is filled with motile spons. So to continue with the histology of the male reproductive system, so I will summarize what you will see in the slides. So this is the slide. So when you see the testis under the light microscope, so this looks like this. So this is the tunica albuginea, the tunica vasculosa, and all these rounded structures are the seminiferous tubules. So these are the seminiferous tubules, and in the interstitial area we find the connective tissue along with the collagen fibers, some blood vessels, and interstitial cells of Leydig which secrete the testosterone. And now we will concentrate on the cells. What we will see with is the seminiferous tubules. So the seminiferous tubules, they are lined by two types of cells. So outermost is the basement membrane, over which lies two types of cells. That is the Sertoli cells and the spermatogonial cells, which are in different stages of maturation. So you can see the Sertoli cells. These are elongated cells having elongated nucleus also. They are elongated cells having elongated nucleus. These are the Sertoli cells, which are the supporting cells. So I have drawn there the Sertoli cell, and in between the two Sertoli, the lateral appendages of two Sertoli cells will form the tight junction. Similarly, here you can see the tall columnar cells. These are the Sertoli cells in between, and in between the Sertoli cells you find the spermatogonial cells in the basal compartment, and primary spermatocyte, the secondary spermatocyte, and the spermatids, they will lie in the abdominal compartment. So here you can see the lumen is free. You don't find anything in the lumen. The lumen is free. But when you see the slide of epididymis. So now you see the slide of epididymis, in which you find there is presence of sperms within this. So epididymis is the site where there is storage of sperms, and they will gain their maturation and mobility in epididymis. So here you find the lumen is filled with sperms, and here it is lined by pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium along with the basal cells and principal cells. Okay, and it is ciliated. How the cilia which is present here, it is stereocilia, immotile cilia, which absorbs the testicular fluid and helps in the transport of sperms. So here you see the principal cells. These are elongated cells, principal cells, and the basal cells is towards the basement membrane. So these two types of cells, they give a host stratification of, so it is called pseudostratified columnar with stereocilia. And in the intervening area you find the loose connective tissue, the collagen fibers, that is the fibromuscular tissue, and lining by smooth muscles. These smooth muscle layer, it helps in the propulsion of sperms. The contraction of smooth muscle helps in the propulsion of sperms. And here is a small section of ductile efferent ductules, which are 12 to 20 in number. So these also they are also lined by pseudostratified columnar epithelium. See here, this is more magnified picture. Here you can see the pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium with stereocilia, and the lumen is filled with sperms. These are the elongated cells, are the principal cells, and the basal cells. And here is the connective tissue layer, and each of this section of epididymis, it is surrounded by smooth muscles. Now you see the cross section of vas deferens. I told you the length of vas deferens is 18 inch, that is 45 centimeter. It starts from the tail of the epididymis. It starts from the tail of the epididymis. Tail of the epididymis. Then it goes through the inguinal canal within the spermatic cord. Then it crosses the ureter. Then it joins with the seminal duct of the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct. So now we see the histology of the vas deferens. So it is lined by similarly pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Then comes the lamina propria. Then here we find 3 layers of muscles, and these the innermost is the longitudinal, middle is circular, and outer is again longitudinal. Then outermost is covered by adventitia. So this muscular layer is also similar to that of the lower end of the